Sometimes I think one of the most natural questions to ask is there more? Is there more to life? Is this all there is? And especially in times in life when you go through some hard times, when you go through things which might knock you off your course, you might have thought you had a plan, but then things go a little bit differently. When things go wrong, you seem to question that a little bit more.
I feel good, sometimes I don't.
And if you're a Christian, you start to ask, does God really have a plan for me? Does God really have a purpose? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I think it's the most natural thing to doubt. But then I pick up my Bible and I spend time with God. I'll spend some time in worship and I'll just read constantly that God has a plan.
God's plan. God's plan.
For me, God has a purpose and that He loves me. And the same is true for you. God absolutely loves you. God absolutely has a plan and a purpose for your life. In fact, I think the only way to live your best life is to live by God's plan and to give your life to Him.
God's plan. God's plan.
Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, to give you a hope and a future. Plans not to harm you." That is God saying to each and every one of us that when you become a Christian, in fact, even before that, God has a plan and a purpose for your life. In other words, you were designed specifically for a purpose and for a plan. You are designed with your skills, with your traits, just the way you are. There is a specific calling for your life. There is a specific thing that God has called you to do. No one else can do what God has called you to do. And often I'll find myself asking that question, of God, what is my plan? What is my purpose? And then I'll read again in the Bible and it says that Jesus said the two most important things are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. In other words, Jesus is saying we are first called to worship God. We are first called to seek after Him and His plan, but also to seek after relationship with Him. That's why we were created, to have relationship with God. But secondly, to love our neighbor as ourselves. I think this goes a little bit deeper and says, you know what? Your purpose is to live as close to Jesus as you can, so that your friends, your family, those people that you interact with day in and day out, they'll learn to know what love looks like. So when you're at school, you are an ambassador for Jesus. You are designed to be like Him, show people what He looks like and tell people that He loves them.
Might go down to G.O.D.
One of the greatest things about being a Christian is that I get to be a part of something much bigger than myself. I get to be a part of the church. And the church is basically anyone who is a Christian belongs in the church. It's not the building, it's not where we're sat, it's the people. When you become a Christian, you are God's hands and feet. You become part of one big family with one incredible purpose. You see, Jesus died 2,000 years ago, not just so that He could live and be a good man, but He died and rose again so that you and I could have a relationship with Him and tell others about Him. Limitless isn't simply about hanging out, having fun, eating pizza or playing football, although I love eating pizza, I've got to say.
Pizza time.
We exist for so much more. We exist to help create a generation that's sole purpose is to make Jesus famous. We don't seek platforms to promote ourselves or to become famous. Our goals are not defined by people or popularity. Our thoughts are not dictated by wrong desires in us. Our speech is not rash or thoughtless or meant to harm anyone. No, because we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. We want to see a generation that seeks purpose, over popularity, that seeks self-control over thoughtlessness, that seeks purity over self-gratification. We want to be a generation that speaks words of life into a world filled with darkness. This is why Limitless exists, to use our platform, our social media, our lives to make Jesus famous. His love, his peace, his joy, his salvation.